And this is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI Services, Talking Business, another episode of our interview series, talking with leaders in the fields of banking, insurance, customer service, digital marketing. And today we are pleased to talk to a gentleman who works in the community banking business and with credit unions across the country. And that is Bruce Clapp, who's the president of Dayton, Ohio-based MarketMatch. Bruce, good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Ken. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday it is. And Bruce, great to meet you. Tell us a little bit about your company. It sounds like you do a lot of work for community banks and credit unions and help them grow their businesses.
Absolutely. And this is kind of a unique time for us because we're actually a virtual company. So, being virtual for myself and my staff is something that is kind of second nature. So we're actually helping a lot of our clients through this period right now about how do I integrate that virtual nature into my business and stay in communication. So that's become a key element for what we do. But taking a step back from that, we're a strategy firm. So we help our clients determine what's going to be the best foot forward for them with regard to their brand, their products, their services, and their go-to-market advertising and communication strategies. So we take those strategies, custom built for them, help them focus on what's going to be right to move the needle. That needle could be deposit growth, asset growth, maybe entering new markets, whatever the case may be. So we'll develop then tactical plans to get that momentum going and engage their staff, their customers in the market. And then obviously, the proof is in the pudding. We generate results for them. So whatever is finally keyed for their particular situation will help drive those results for them.
And certainly at CBSI, we've worked with community banks and with commercial banks, community banks, credit unions for many years, more on the consumer side. But in recent days, over this COVID-19 crisis period, the community banks have really stood out very well in helping small businesses obtain and apply for the payroll protection loans that the federal government was offering through the Small Business Administration. How do you see the effort of the community banks on that project? It really seems like a very proud moment for them.
It truly is, and I would say that it falls back really to one very key word that has a lot of meaning, and that's relationship. Most community bankers have a very strong relationship with their customers. They understand what their business is. They visit them quite often. Relationship is kind of an overused word. Some people, have relationship managers, but all that really means is they have this portfolio of business. But for community banks, that relationship is really where the rubber meets the road. And because of that, you're going to probably have the home cell number of maybe the CEO or your lender. And be able to talk about things when they really have an impactful need at the business. And because of that relationship, bankers, the community bankers were able to not only act and react, but also focus on getting the dollars and help their customers navigate that process. As we all know, the original PPP process was kind of like grabbing at straws in the dark. It was kind of unknown for everybody. So the banker had a choice. I could sit and wait for regulations to come through, or I can dive in, figure it out as we go, and take care of my customer. And that's really, that moment is really what separated largely community banks from the larger banks.
Yes, we've heard some amazing stories about how quickly local bankers were able to jump in, as you said, and understand the process and be able to accept loan applications from their customers. When you look at your clientele of community banks and credit unions, how are some of the other ways that they've been able to serve their customers during this extraordinary crisis?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things is really understanding, and understanding that while this crisis is universal, it's impacting everybody in a much different way. Some people like myself have been working at home and are virtual, and that hasn't changed. Others now are thrust into a virtual environment. Others yet have been furloughed or have lost their job entirely. So the depth and level of impact is very personal. So that means that relationship you have with your banker is that much more important, to know that as I have a need, that they're going to be there, they're going to be receptive to my individual needs and challenges, and they're going to help me foster and create a plan that's going to help address that. So that's really where we have seen the difference being made in organizations, is really understanding that need is unique and different for everybody they come in contact with.
Very good. And as we are starting to reopen business in various parts of the country, tell us a little bit about how your two groups, maybe start with credit unions. What's your advice or strategic direction for them as they help their customers, many of whom are consumers, deal with the issues, the high unemployment rates, and then, but also being able to help their customers as business reopens? Absolutely.
Well, let me start with saying that the good news for our bank and credit union clients is that they entered this situation from a strong capital position. There really wasn't any underlying economic challenge that thrust this upon everybody. So they're operating from a position of strength. So we're advocating that they build flexibility into their plans, whether they are, in their lending decisions, their operating procedures, fee waivers, things like that. Build flexibility into it, because that's what's needed from your consumer right now. And then realize that there's going to be a tail to this whole situation. That while the customer has, or the member has an immediate need today, that need's probably not going to go away immediately. Even if their business opens back up, it's going to be a little bit of time to get back to that. So we need to make sure that people have about a 120-day plan from this point going forward in place, because we think it's going to be at least 120 days before things kind of get more normalized. So that's our common guidance to both our credit union and our bank clients. But for credit unions specifically, we're saying, you know what, use your leverage as that small hometown, typically localized organization to really understand and personalize your marketing, personalize your message, make sure your CEO and your leadership is front and center. And make their presence known. So have them out now that the bank is, or the credit union is going to open up. Have them out in the lobbies. Make sure they're sending personalized emails to the membership, not just from the organization, but coming from the CEO. So again, we want to underscore and highlight that relationship, that we are here for you, and the we is me, and so that relationship is really important.
We've talked a lot to marketing communications experts, and everyone has said just what you said. You've got to stay in touch with your customers and show leadership, as you're described from the CEOs. What are some of the key points in marketing communication strategy that you're recommending for your clients to use in banking as we start to see businesses reopening?
Well, first of all, be cognizant of what the environment is. So, for instance, a bank or credit union might now typically start promoting home equities. And typically that message is about, do your dream vacation, remodel your kitchen. Those things are kind of off the table right now. So it's about, getting your finances in order and proper use of money and tapping unknown resources. So that kind of a message. So it's adopting and adapting your message to what the current situation is. That's point one. Point two is, again, personalizing this. So getting away from blanket emails that you send one email to all 10 or 12,000 of your customers or your members, and trying to segment those groups down. So ones that might be in the service economy, or ones are in the manufacturing economy, for instance, would rightfully need a different kind of message than someone that's maybe a teacher that has been working from home and getting ready to enter the summer period where they're going to be doing normal kinds of things for them. So the message needs to be much more personalized than ever before.
Very good. Now, certainly the travel and entertainment business is really being affected, something that we focus on quite a bit at CBSI with the travel and restaurants being served by credit card programs. And what are some of the areas that you see of that field that's going to be affected? Obviously getting restaurants open, but getting airlines open and hotels back, it seems like it's going to be a challenge.
I think it is, and I think there's three key variables here. One is just the pure ability to travel. Can I go, cross state lines, and can I fly, and can I stay at hotels, all that kind of stuff. So the ability, but then you have the comfort and confidence. that is going to be kind of between the ears of the consumer, and that's where the message needs to focus on. What are you doing to make sure that if I enter this airplane, that I'm not going to be put into a situation where I'm going to be at risk? Because people have been, as they've watched, Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, or Cuomo for the governor, or the mayor of New York, doing their messaging. It's been all about all these messages of social distancing and being careful and wearing masks. So you have to underscore, how are you going to build that comfort and confidence in the person to then go about the normal course of business? Because while they can, doesn't mean they will. So we have to attach those two things together, that they have the ability and now they have the willingness, because we've taken care of their kind of emotional need, if you will.
Very good. And we're talking with Bruce Clapp, who's the president of Dayton, Ohio-based MarketMatch, working with community banks and credit unions across the country. Bruce, maybe tell us a little bit about the scope of the services that you provide to the banking industry.
Absolutely, Ken. First of all, again, we're a strategy firm. So the first thing we do is help our clients understand exactly how they're positioned in the marketplace. And we do that through data analysis, understanding how their customers or their members are voting with their dollars. Where are they buying or not buying products and services? And then is it a conscious or unconscious decision? So that leads to the strength of their brand. So we look at how they position in the marketplace, what their brand presence is, and then how are they going about communicating what their value proposition to the customers are. So we take it from the one end of the strategy all the way through to the tactical implementation and tracking about what's working and what's not, and is it doing the things we need to get done. So that includes product development, it includes targeting and persona development, certainly brand definition, and then of course, training, because we can have the best marketing message, the best tool, but if the customer walks in and they have an experience with the banker that is uneasy, not confident, the transaction is going to fall apart right there.
Very good. And Bruce, I always like to ask my guests a little bit about their career path. Maybe if you could tell us a little bit about the steps along the way for you. I see a very familiar name on your resume, Entertainment Publications, that we've worked with for many years. What have been some of the stops for you?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I started in college, and then immediately after college working at Carlson Marketing Group, and I was a research analyst. So I'm kind of an interesting mix of a right brain and a left brain. So I have a creative flair with a data-driven approach. So being a research analyst, that has helped me innumerably through my career, really focus on the data points that are driving behaviors and decisions. And you mentioned entertainment. I joined entertainment after I was at Bank One. I was in the Management Associate Program, rose all the way to the Retail Marketing Director there for the Dayton affiliate, went to work at a credit union, and then a privately held community bank, and then entertainment. Entertainment, I was in charge of their financial services approach, utilizing loyalty marketing. So you put all these things together, you have research, you have loyalty, you have bank and credit union exposure. I put all these things together in a package that I called MarketMatch, that I created in 2002 to really address the challenges that I had as a financial marketer, and I could envision that other institutions would have.
Very good. And you've got a couple of publications out, a text and also a know-how guide. Tell us a little bit about the publications that you have authored.
Absolutely. I've written two different editions of the Marketing Financial Services textbook for the American Bankers Association that's used to drive the CFMP certification for bank marketers around the country. And then I've also co-authored a book called Shift Happens, which dives into the realities of the shifting marketplace, everything from the bank and credit union mix to fintechs and other things, kind of diving into that and analyzing how that shift is impacting how the industry is operating. Very
good. And it's great to talk with you today. Do you have a final thought that you'll be offering to clients as we're hoping to get into the business reopening period coming out of this COVID-19 crisis?
Absolutely. I would say communication is utmost of critically important. Transparency of that communication as broadly and as deeply as you possibly can. Standing by your word and being flexible. So communication, transparency, and flexibility are the three things that we're sharing with all of our clients right now.
Very good. Bruce Clapp, president of Dayton, Ohio-based MarketMatch, working with community banks and credit unions around the country. Thank you for joining us on our CBSI Talking Business episode today.
Ken, it's always great talking with you. Thank you.
Good to talk with you. We'll do it again. And again, this is Ken Kreitzer for our team at CBSI Services based in Harrison, New York. Very proud of the effort and the job our team has done managing our clients through the COVID-19 crisis and their customers, many of whom had travel challenges, especially back in March when so much disruption was happening. And our team focuses on insurance-backed benefits to help in the credit card industry. So again, this is Ken Kreitzer from my home office in White Plains, New York. Have a great day, everybody, and stay safe.